Well, my warmest thanks to Archbishop Farrell for being with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to the priests and the deacons of the diocese and the servers for being with us. Most of all, thanks to all of you for coming out, standing room only clearly on a game day for our Mass today. It is so inspiring and so gratifying to see such a wonderful crowd to start our day here with worshiping God at Mass. So thank you so much for being with us. It has been said that you don't really know someone until you know where they're from. I think that's very true. You can know so much about people as adults, their occupation, their accomplishments, their beliefs, where they live, their social circle, and so on. But you don't really fully know them until you know where they were born, who their parents and family are, what was the place and circumstances in which they grew up, what was the environment and people that initially shaped themselves and their perceptions of the world. Knowing where someone is from is key to knowing who they are. You know, we see that even in the Gospels. You know, in the Gospels, the first stories that were told and written down, unsurprisingly, were about Jesus' public ministry, his suffering, his death, his resurrection. That stands to reason. That's what the disciples, his apostles, that's what they saw. That's what they experienced. But with time, the story expanded. The story was told about the Annunciation of the angel Gabriel to Mary, about the trip to Jerusalem of Mary and Joseph, about the birth in Bethlehem, about the years of Jesus' youth in Nazareth. That was in Matthew's and Luke's gospel. But then in John's gospel, we have even more. It begins, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and all came to being through him. And then the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. John's gospel tells of Jesus' origin in the divine Trinity and in the creation of all that is. You see, the apostles saw Jesus' life, death, and resurrection as a mystery that transformed their lives. And they connected this story with the story of the mystery of the Trinity, arising from God's love and mercy, Mary's yes to the angel, and the birth in Bethlehem. To tell the full story of Jesus, the Gospels tells us of the wondrous mystery of the origins of Jesus. My point about origins is relevant to us here today because it explains to our Irish friends why all we Americans and Notre Dame leaders have come to Ireland. For the vast majority of us, our origins are very much on this island, and our stories are intertwined with the history of Ireland and its people. My ancestors on my mother's side came from Ireland during the Great Hunger, the potato famine. They came to America and they settled in a farming community in northern Iowa, a very Irish farming community. My mother was born on a farm and told us of stories of her parents and her grandparents. And these stories told us about who we are. And I'm sure the people here today can say something similar about their ancestors and the stories their families told them. Now, something similar is true of the University of Notre Dame. It was founded by a French priest in 1842, but soon after there were waves of immigrants, predominantly from Ireland, who came to the United States. And they were the students and the priests and the brothers and the faculty of Notre Dame. And the university's athletic teams, because of this, came to be known as the Fighting Irish. And perhaps that is why we are here. We only fully understand our stories, those stories of our individual lives and of Notre Dame, if we understand how they had their origin in the story of Ireland and its people. We are so grateful for the legendary hospitality of the Irish people that has been shown to us during our visit these few days on our pilgrimage. And this morning, we come to Mass because we recognize that our stories and the story of Notre Dame is intertwined with the story of Jesus and the mystery of his life and death and resurrection. That faith was a critical part of the story of the ancestors who went before us. That faith enabled them to stay together and persevere through many trials, the unspeakable tragedy of the famine, the wrenching sadness of leaving one's parents and one's family to go to a new land, the challenges of that new land. And often in the 19th century and the early 20th century, the anti-immigrant, anti-Irish bigotry they encountered, their commitment to retain proudly their heritage, and their commitment to stay together, to support one another despite the challenges, despite the adversity. And faith was critical to persevering through these challenges. It gave them hope in dark moments. Their churches brought them together. It inspired many to respond to the challenges with generosity and hope rather than despair. And it inspired them to build great institutions of learning like the University of Notre Dame. So this morning, let us give thanks as we go on with Mass that we are here in this land of our ancestors. Let us give thanks for the faith and perseverance of our ancestors who went before us. Let us give thanks for the rich history and the culture of Ireland. And let us reflect prayerfully on how our lives and our origins are connected with this young, expectant mother we heard about in today's gospel, Mary, Our Lady, Notre Dame. In the gospel, she is wondrously carrying a child announced by an angel. She travels to see her cousin, Elizabeth, who tells her that she is blessed among all women. And Mary, in her faith, responds, "My soul magnifies the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior, who has looked with favor on his lowly servant." Let us ask for the gift to recognize the blessings of our lives, many due to our ancestors who went before us, so that we can pray Mary's prayer along with her, saying, "My spirit rejoices in God," thanking him for the favor he has shown all of us. God bless you all.